Thanks to pent-up demand and a strong loonie, Canadians have flocked back to France during this spring and summer. France is once again on its way to being the world's #1 destination, with an estimated 75 million plus international visitors for 2022. Canadian travelers have been able to see and experience sites like in Paris, the Palace Museum, known as the Hôtel de la Marine, or in the French regions, the recently opened Cité Internationale de la Gastronomie et du Vin in Dijon, and the spectacular new replica of the underwater prehistoric cave known as the Grotte Cosquer in Marseille. There is, of course, much more to come, from openings to anniversaries and new experiences which will provide Canadians with fun and delicious things to see and do in France in 2023. Let's begin with the Vallée de la Gastronomie, a new concept that invites visitors to explore 4 elite regions of the eastern half of France through an abundance of sensory journeys. This 385-mile path, which begins in Burgundy-Franche-Comté, will provide food and wine lovers with a delightful way to experience this gourmet trail from Dijon to Marseille. The route wends its way through the gastronomy and wine powerhouses of Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes and Provence's Rhône Delta, ending in Occitanie's Gard County. The Vallée de la Gastronomie website offers travelers a wealth of suggestions on where to eat and taste wines, like the simple bistrot La Chaumière in Dole, Franche-Comté, to the restaurants of 3 Michelin star chef Anne-Sophie Pic in Valence. La Vallée also presents 6 itineraries that comb through those regions in distinctive and original ways. It is a perfect way to meet its people and its top artisans that are all dedicated to the French art de vivre and know-how. Visits include those to brewers of beer and whiskey, chocolate makers, olive oil or vinegar producers, or to better-known producers of the famed Marseillais Sablé or the Calisson of Aix. The more adventurous can become a grape harvester for a day, or to burn off those calories, experience all this through the Via Rhôna, a dedicated bike path along the scenic Rhône River. Now, let's talk rugby. The 2023 Rugby World Cup will be held in France from Friday, September 8 to Saturday, October 28, 2023. During that period, 20 countries will compete in over 45 matches in 10 French cities and 9 venues. The opening match will be very close to Paris in Saint-Denis at the impressive Stade de France, opposing France to New Zealand. There are many reasons to visit or revisit these 10 host cities, but visiting them during the Rugby World Cup will provide sports fans and travelers alike with some extra oomph and joyous atmosphere. The other host cities are wine capital and ardent rugby city Bordeaux, northern France's Lille, capital of French Flanders, Lyon, one of, if not the top gastronomic city of France, Mediterranean Marseille, France's second most ancient city, with a very contemporary twist, creative Nantes, the Western Loire's former capital of the Dukes of Brittany, UNESCO World Heritage Site Nice, capital of the Côte d'Azur, Saint-Étienne in the Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes region, and France's capital of design, and last but not least, the great rugby capital of Occitanie, Toulouse, also known as the Pink City. 2023 is also the year of some major anniversaries that will be celebrated and commemorated in France, several of which will resonate with Canadian visitors. There will be the 100th anniversary of the death of Gustave Eiffel, the brilliant engineer who created and built France's iconic tower. He also built the frame to support Auguste Bartholdi's great statue, Liberty Enlightening the World, which towers in New York's harbor. Normandy's world-famous Mont Saint-Michel will celebrate 1,000 years. Construction of the Romanesque nave of the Mont Saint-Michel Abbey began in 1023. The life of Jean-Baptiste Poquelin, better known as Molière, will be celebrated on the 350th anniversary of his death. France will join Spain in remembering Pablo Picasso and his art. Picasso moved to France in 1904, spending the last 12 years of his life in Mougins on the Côte d'Azur, where he died in 1973. And last but not least, the 24 Hours of Le Mans will celebrate its 100th anniversary, having held its first race May 26, 1923. The 24-hour lure once featured Hollywood icon Paul Newman and his team, placing second in 1979, but also many Canadian pilots up to this day. The next edition will take place in Le Mans, June 10th and 11th, 2023. For those looking for immediate happening, this fall is the time to experience the 12th edition of the Route du Rhum. The acclaimed international transatlantic sailing race leaves Saint-Malo, Brittany on November 6th, arriving approximately 2 weeks later in Pointe-à-Pitre in the French Caribbean Guadeloupe Islands. The eco-friendly Isle of Flowers is also in the news. Martinique is up for its third UNESCO nod in 3 years. The first was in 2020 for the unique Yole sailboat, and last September the entire island was declared a World Biosphere Reserve. Martinique will soon hear from the UNESCO committee on its candidacy for Mount Pelée and the Piton of northern Martinique. Let's now look ahead to 2024. Paris will be hosting the Summer Olympics from July 26 to August 11th, followed by the Paralympic Games from August 28 to September 8. 2024 will also be the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings in Normandy, an opportunity to remember the sacrifice of the Canadians and all the Allied nations at the Juno Beach Center. In addition to these 5 permanent exhibitions, the museum offers new features such as an interactive and digital experience for young visitors, while being committed to a sustainable approach by promoting eco-transportation at a low carbon rate. To prepare for this momentous event, the Normandy region will unveil in March of 2023 a new high-tech version of the Arromanches D-Day Museum, first built in 1954. Arromanches is the site of one of the 2 famed artificial harbors known as Mulberry, conceived and built by the British. Find out more on these topics and hotel news, exhibitions and unexpected story ideas on our website. Examples include how to live it up with a luxury chauffeur-driven adventure with companies such as French Side Travel. In the same vein, check out Monaco's world-renowned casinos, hotels and restaurants. Spend the day at the Galeries Lafayette flagship store, whether in its recently opened Wellness Gallery or at one of the 8 new Tables des Gourmets. Visit the village of Roissy for charm and a meal interlude during a layover at nearby Charles de Gaulle Airport. Day trip from Paris to the countryside to enjoy the home and estate of Impressionist painter Gustave Caillebotte in Hyères. For more information, visit our Press and Explore France website for details.